Okay, we're live now. And let me go over to our Instagram to get it popping.
Oh yeah, how do I get the key from Instagram?
Um,
Do I
I
go
think
to my Instagram and get the
I,
key?
I believe so.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. It's your girl Selena here, the Disruptor Coach, and I am live with Miss Vanette Hill of Priority You. And we are going to be talking about, let me get my note here because, it's a lot of things on the screen when you're going live with StreamYard. We are live on my personal Facebook as well as Instagram, Disruptor Coach, and our YouTube channel, Disruptor Coaching. Miss Vanette here is also a StreamYard participant. And so we're looking to see how we can get her going because some of these things you aren't able to do until you actually go live. So thank you, Vanette, for being here. Your organization is Priority You. You're a leadership life coach that empowers successful women to conquer self doubt, embrace happiness, and lead a balanced life. So, thank you for being here. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to
Pleasure.
get into the details. Vanette we are together in the same organization with just learning how to do our sales process, learning to support each other, all of those wonderful things. And so we wanted to share ourselves with each other's audiences. She's joining me today, and I'm going to be joining you on your podcast. What day?
Thursday.
Thursday. Thursday is the 22nd, I believe.
22nd. Yes.
Yes. Awesome. 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 This is my birthday week, so I'm super excited.
Oh, happy birthday.
Well, thank you. Thank you. It's officially on Tuesday. Now, I didn't get any questions on my end. Did you get any questions so far that popped up that you're going to be answering?
So far, I did not. I did not get
Okay.
any so far.
No worries. We are live. So if you all have any questions, feel free to drop them and we will be happy to answer them on the spot. Hey, Miss Kenya Salters, thank you for being here.
Hey,
We
Josie.
appreciate you as well. So
Yeah.
let's get into it. Without further
Let's
ado, I got a
go.
couple questions for you.
All
So,
right.
Vanette, what inspired you to become a leadership life coach, particularly focusing on empowering successful women?
That's a good question. So I've been in leadership in corporate America 30 plus years.
Oh,
So it's
really?
been like 30 years, right? And for me, corporate America, they teach you, same thing with college, right? They teach you skills, but they don't teach you about yourself. And you
Mm,
can't be an effective leader if you're not an effective individual.
yeah.
So I found that I was seeing, they would give you all these classes to take, right? Even with emotional intelligence, it's so mind blowing the way people can take classes on emotional intelligence and then they only look at it from a perspective of gauging other people and not applying it to themselves. So I found leaders weren't applying certain things to
Mm,
themselves when they had things going on in their personal lives and they weren't whole. And I found with women particularly, we are some bad mama jammas. Like, listen, sisters, we are some bad mama jammas because we have the ability to compartmentalize what we're going through on the inside and be fully functional and excelling in our careers. We will pour ourselves into our careers, but we won't pour into ourselves.
that's a whole word, girl.
So I found successful career women, like on the outside, right? You look at them, they got the title, they got the money, they got the cars, this, that, and the third, but they were lonely. They couldn't manage relationships. Um, they were unhappy with
Mm.
all the money and all the accolades in the office. And then some of them, not all of them, but some of them was leaving bodies along the side of the road.
Say more about that. What's that look like, leaving bodies along the side of the road?
When you lead from a place of being always thinking you're being attacked, when you feel like you have to be overly aggressive, when you come in too masculine because you feel like you have to be masculine to compete on a level when a lot of folks in the room are men.
Mm-hmm.
But when you are secure in yourself, you can show up just as who you are. And it is the most freeing thing in the world.
Yes.
But we're not taught how to do that. And it's so unfortunate. It's so unfortunate. And so that was my my why, because I know what it's like when you wear all the hats, when you're a mom or you're a wife or you're divorced and you still got the kids and you're trying to go to school and you're doing the work and then you're not a priority. And so that's where I came with Priority You, because you are the priority.
Absolutely. Oh, this is resonating with me because I was all of those things. Absolutely, for sure. Especially when I was raising my son as a single parent and just going through all the things and climbing the ladder, going back to school, got degrees and all of the things. Also, because I wanted to show him as an example, because I believe we learn what we see. And then that I went from being in so I used to do restaurant management, and then I went into the corporate environment, corporate space, in corporate America, banking specifically. And it was just a whole different animal, and learning on the spot, and you learning what you see and all of the things, and wanting to fit in and the way they do things in that culture. So I can fully relate to that. Absolutely. What would you say in your experiences are some common challenges that the successful women face when it comes to the self-doubt and achieving balance?
Some common challenges is going to be burnout. We burning the candle at every end. Ladies, it's okay to rest. It's okay to do nothing sometimes. But the imposter syndrome, questioning, no matter how qualified we are,
Mm-hmm.
the degrees, the titles, the skill that we truly have, when we step into a room and we talk about imposter syndrome, that little thing, that little person pops up on your shoulder and they're going to discover that you're not as good as they think you are. And that's really our inner critic talking to us. That's our inner critic. And we can't feed into that. So they have that. Then they have where they focus so much on their career. Like I said earlier, it's no focus on themselves. So outside of work, they really don't even know who they are.
Absolutely.
Because they've given so much to the job. I'll share this story with you. There was a lady that I work with, so smart. Oh my gosh, she was so smart.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody will come to her, right? But she had no boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
So her leadership, kept putting more on her, and she kept taking it because she kind of thrived out of this kind of chaos, if you will. But she wasn't taking care of herself. When you looked at her, she had bitter nails. She would bite her nails. And she would just work all the time. She'd buy all these clothes, never wear anything because she was too busy working. Lo and behold, one day she went home to work, y'all, and she died right there.
Oh, no.
And we didn't find out until hours later when we were trying to contact her, because we were working virtual. But she had died. She had had a heart attack. And so that resonated with me because I was like, she gave so much of her life to that job and they replaced her. They posted the position and replaced her. So it's some of us out there who are not taking that vacation time because we think we're getting extra credit by showing up every day. Or
All the
when you
time.
sick, you showing up and you sick. They have vacation time and sick time and just your personal time. You have to prioritize you. So that's a common thing that women do, especially when they reach a certain level, because they don't want their peers to think that they're not up to the challenge, or they feel like
Mhm.
they have to always be on call. And there's a real loss of self. Like I said, when they step outside of that office, if they try to meet people, the first thing they do is say, "Hi, I work at such and such, and I'm such and such." They give you their title and where they work. But who are you? Because your job is not who God made you to be.
Hello.
You know, you're not your job. You are not that title. I've met some young ladies I met this young lady, she was an admin for an executive. And she volunteered on different boards and ended up getting a vice president position for one of
Mhm.
these boards, one of these groups that supported employees. And so
Right.
she wanted to go into a leadership position. I said, "You're already a leader, baby. Leadership is not the title that's given to you." Because how many of you, raise a hand, how many of y'all know some folks that got leadership titles and couldn't lead you to drink water that was sitting on the table in front of you? Couldn't lead you to drink it, right?
Been
So
there.
it's your character. It's being a leader is about being a servant to others. And when you get that, then that's half the battle of being a leader. But again, those are just some of the challenges. You help people see who they are, right? Because who you are on the inside is going to show. So when a woman is not loving herself, when she is not feeling good about herself and her self-esteem, see, we talk about self-confidence, but that self-esteem, how you feel on the inside, it goes deep. And
Right.
so if you haven't reconciled with any pain or anything from the past, that's going to show up in how you interact in present day. And so you're going to have to deal with that one way or another.
Absolutely. And yeah, yeah. It was whew, there's so much meat there. Vanette, let me ask you something. Can you share a transformative moment or story from your coaching practice where you witness a client overcome the self-doubt and step into their leadership potential while taking
A-
care of themselves?
Absolutely. So there was a woman that I was coaching, and she was at the time an individual contributor, and she was older. I think she and I was about the same age, because we were both seasoned, seasoned. So she was an individual contributor, and she had talked over with her family. She said, "I want to go into leadership." And her family was like, "Well, you're too old to go into leadership. You're too old to change careers." And so as we talked, and I was like, and I told her, I said, age is not a number. I mean, age is only a number. It's only a number.
Mhm.
It has nothing to do with what you have to offer the world.
Right.
And so I began to work with her, and I asked her, tell me what do you want to get out of leadership? Like, what's your motivation for going into leadership? And so she then began to explain how, she knows certain processes, and she knows how she understood how the employees, especially in her team, what their needs were and how she could help them and how she could help more people if only she had the title, which would give her the authority to make some changes to get some things done.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I started talking to her, and I was like, do you believe do you believe you have the capability to do the job? And she was like, yes. And I would give her some affirmations, and she started saying these affirmations. I said, look yourself in the mirror and say, yes, I can. Yes, I am a leader. I am a leader. I will be a leader. And so she started saying it. And then we worked on her confidence. So every day I would tell her, okay, tell me something you did today that was outside of your comfort level. I had her give me different things that made her uncomfortable. And slowly but surely, we started working on her getting accustomed to using her voice. I said, as a leader, I can
Right.
share with you, when somebody is telling me they want to go into leadership, I need to see you take initiative. So what are you going to take initiative with? So she started
Right.
looking at things that she could do right now to demonstrate her leadership skills. And she started building her muscle around confidence. Because when she started stepping outside of her comfort zone and she realized, oh, I can accomplish that, she started accomplishing more and more things. And pretty soon, she was very confident. She interviewed and got a promotion into leadership. And,
Yeah.
she would come back to me every year after that and go, you know what? I thank you so much because you believed in me when I couldn't believe in myself. And it's such a blessing because that's why we have to pour into our children. We have to pour into our sisters and our brothers, because there are times in this life when you have been broken, you have been hurt, and you lose belief in yourself. And sometimes some people, unfortunately, have never believed in themselves.
Absolutely.
But when you can have somebody that can be a mirror to you and show you, I believe in you, until they can believe in themselves and they can lean on you for support and you can guide them to get them there. As long as they're willing to put the work in. If they're willing to put the work in, they can accomplish it.
That is a beautiful journey for her. So it sounds like, do you want the clients before they're in leadership to help cultivate that so that they could pursue leadership opportunities, or what does that look like when a client comes to you?
When a client comes to me, I accept those who aspire to leadership and those who are in leadership because I've been in both places.
Mm-hmm.
So they have different needs when it comes to some of the technical skills of leadership if they want to develop that. But
Right.
oftentimes they have the same personal development that needs to occur, because we all struggle with, whether you have that title or not, we all struggle with at times our confidence, how we feel about each other, ourselves, and recognizing what our values are, spending time with ourselves to understand, well, what do I value? And what's my why for doing this job, right? Is it just to get money?
Right.
Are you looking for fulfillment? Because I tell people all the time, maybe God has blessed you with that job to be a means for your purpose, right? Your purpose will give you your fulfillment. So every job that you have may not be necessarily a direct tie to your purpose, but it can give you the means and the resources to fund your purpose. It could be a catalyst or a foundation for your purpose. And I
Right.
think as long as you're always recognizing that you are not your job, and who are you outside of your job? That's the biggest thing, because that's where success lives. Success doesn't live in you have that title, you have that corner office, you have all the things, because when you look over your life, you can't take the corner office with you when you go.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
what have you done with your life? And did you really live it? Because it's a gift and a blessing. So that's something that I can coach women on, regardless if they're aspiring to leadership or if they're in leadership.
Absolutely. That's powerful. Good stuff, girl. What are some key principles or philosophies that guide your coaching approach?
Integrity. I truly, integrity means so much to me. It's more than what you say, it's what you do when nobody is watching. Um,
Mm-hmm.
confidentiality, being, the principles of when I'm coaching someone is understanding that I'm your biggest cheerleader. I'm your biggest confidant, your support system, but I'm also going to be honest, respectfully so, but honest
Mm-hmm.
and committed to your journey as long as you're committed and invested. I love to work with people who's committed and vested, because that means we can make things happen. You have to be ready for the change to occur, right?
Right.
So
Absolutely.
it's like that saying, you can bring a horse to water, but you can't force the horse to drink.
Absolutely. And this is why one of the reasons why I want to have these conversations, right? for those that are not used to investing in themselves, to understand that, one, you don't have to do it alone, that you can be supported, you are worthy, what that looks like, to expose them to other coaches other than just me, right? So that they can see and get the fit that they need and understand the benefits of that. Absolutely. I love
Absolutely.
that.
Yeah, yeah.
What could you elaborate on some practical strategies or techniques you use to help your clients conquer self-doubt and cultivate confidence?
Yes. The first thing is I have them write down what is it that they've done that they are proud of? Like, what are some things that they've already accomplished? So we start a
Mhm.
list of what you've already accomplished. Then we create a list of what do you want to accomplish? Then we identify, well, what's the roadblocks, right? And then we go back to that other list to remind them you've done these things. You celebrate
Absolutely. You
these
got
things.
evidence.
Understand that if God brought you through this, he'll take you through this. But you can't let this stop you because your mindset will stop you. This is your prison. This will enslave you. This will hold you hostage. Once you can free this up to see the vision of what you want to accomplish, then God will order your steps and things will begin to happen once you get in motion. But you have to get in motion.
You have to take that first step.
You have to take that
Absolutely.
first step.
Um, how do you navigate the intersection of personal and professional goals with your clients to help them lead more fulfilling lives?
So I believe that when it comes to your personal and professional, that there's never going to be a total equal. It's never going to be 50-50. It
Mhm.
ebbs and flows at different times. But the key is moderation. So there may be a period in their time where they're really focusing on developing themselves at work. But
Mhm.
in that process, there are certain things that you still have to incorporate for self, meaning you still have to have your spirituality, your faith in God. You still need to keep that connection. You need to find time for mindfulness and clarity because when you take care of yourself mentally, you're going to excel professionally. So
Mhm.
you cannot not pay attention to the personal aspect of who you are as you develop yourself professionally. And I think as long as we always come back to you have to care for self along the way in this journey. Like never not care for yourself because you're the priority.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Are there any tools that or resources that you could recommend on how they do that to care for themselves?
There are there's one book that I've read and it's a timeless book and it's called The Success Principles. And let me see. It's an oldie, but it's by Jack Canfield. It's an oldie but goodie.
Okay.
And in here, it tells you how to get from where you are to where you want to be. And so this has been a really good book. It's got a ton of practical gems because sometimes I think people think that answer is going to be something that is so technical or so scientific that it's got the hugest mathematical equation you cannot solve, humanly solve, right? Oftentimes the answers, y'all, is so simple. It's like
Mhm.
Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz. The whole
Mhm.
moral of the story was the Tin Man, the Scarecrow, and the Lion and Dorothy, they all had what they needed inside of them. And that's how it is for us. You have it inside you. But oftentimes, if you can't make that step, if you can't break that barrier or that hurdle, then you need a
Right.
coach. You need to either get with the disruptor, myself, or somebody. Then you need a coach to help guide you the rest of the way.
Absolutely, because sometimes you can't see the forest for the trees. So you need someone else that is your cheerleader, like you said, and that has the insight. because I think that's the difference, right? With having a coach, they have insight. Every coach that's showing up on social media, they don't know you personally. So they're giving you generalized information. But when you have a personal, I like to call it your inner self-love tribe. When you
Yes.
have your own self-love tribe, your inner tribe, they know you specifically and can see what you're not always seeing.
Yes, and a different perspective makes all the difference in the world. Sometimes you just need that person to ask you that right question to get your brain to think a little differently, right? Because
Yeah,
as we've grown and we get older, we've had experiences, it all shapes our perception on the world around us, right?
mhm,
But when you
mhm.
get somebody that can get you to see things a little different, sometimes that's all you need to open
Absolutely.
up a whole world of different opportunities for you.
Absolutely. And yeah, because sometimes what you said regarding the different perspective, words are so powerful, and sometimes people are saying things recklessly.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
And so you have to be careful who you listening to and what you letting getting into your spirit, because just the slightest thing that could be said flippantly could just change somebody's whole life.
Absolutely.
And I've seen that happen. So I work real hard to be careful about that. Um, what advice would you give to successful women who are struggling to prioritize self care and maintain balance amidst their busy lives?
Here's what I want to say. Before I give the answer to that, I want to give a shout out real quick. I see Shaka Love 5 joined. I see
Awesome.
Jay Pasha joined and Brenda. So I want to give you all a shout out. Thank you all for joining
Yeah,
us on this live as I
good to
am
see you.
the disruptor coach here. And to answer that question, could you repeat that again? Look, I done gave my shout out.
Absolutely. I know, girl. That's what we're here to help each other out, right?
Thank
What
you.
if what advice would you give to successful women who are struggling to prioritize self-care and maintain balance amidst their busy lives?
I would say you have to love yourself.
Mm,
Loving yourself means doing the things that you may not feel like doing, ladies, but the things you need to do to take care of yourself, to honor yourself. So God has given us these bodies. He's given us this life. And if we don't take care of it, we do a dishonor to the gifts that we were given. You have to understand that when you don't practice self-care and you don't make time for self-care, you're telling yourself you're not worthy. You're telling yourself you don't love yourself that much. So you're telling yourself that you don't value yourself, because let's face it, we make time for what we value. When we think something is important, we make time for it. I know
absolutely.
some folks that when that holiday, when that Black Friday roll around, them sales come on, they make time to get up early in the morning. Now they online because everybody doing the sales online, right? We know that.
Right.
So, but they online getting that shopping done, right? They make time to go out to the restaurant and eat. You have to make time to care for yourself. And when you invest that time, and sometimes people say, well, it takes too much to do
Mhm.
it. I don't have enough time for it. You can get up first thing in the morning. I used to say that first thing in the morning. You need to work out first thing in the morning. Do it before you take your shower. Do it before you go to work. Get you in 30 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes. You can do that first thing in the morning.
Absolutely.
Throughout the day, you can find 5 to 10 minutes to sit in prayer or to meditate. 5 or 10 minutes. You'll be surprised at how refreshed you are from meditating, from clearing your mind. Because guess what, y'all? We're taking in more information than any time in history. The
Absolutely.
human, the human brain is taking in so much information, y'all. We're on our phones, on the laptops, looking at TV, all the things, right? You make time for it. And I really want to give a shout out to Jennifer, who's on Instagram, J Pasha, because she and I used to work out in the same facility together. And I commend Jennifer because Jennifer shows dedication and commitment. And that's what it takes. You have to show up for yourself so you can make time for it. Make time for you and show yourself that you love yourself. So when you're busy, make your schedule. That's the first thing I do. I make a schedule, and then I made a commitment to myself, because if you can't commit to yourself, you can't commit to nobody else. And you can't expect nobody else to commit to you.
Absolutely.
Because what you exhibit is what you will attract. So if I can't commit to my own health and love myself, who's going to step in to love on me if I'm not loving on me? And part of loving on you is giving yourself the food you need to eat, staying hydrated, being prayerful, having your connection with God, meditating so you can clear your mind. And when you are clear, you can make decisions better.
Absolutely. 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 I also feel like, from a priority perspective, and at least for me, I don't know if others felt this way, some of the biblical teaching kind of is part of the problem, in the humbleness and caring for others and things like that. I think that some of the teaching got it misconstrued to where it sets a tone that you're putting others before you, versus the fact that the self-love needs to happen first. Like they tell you, there's a reason why you need to put the mask on yourself first before you help anyone when you're on an airplane. And I think that happens mostly for women, just from a societal perspective too, because it's always been the perception that someone else is going to come along and make you happy, that you're not necessarily complete or whole until you're attached to this other person. And it's just not true. It's just not valid. You're responsible for your own happiness, and everything starts with you, and it starts from within.
That right there, Selena, was a whole sermon right there. We could just get right off the live right now. That was a whole sermon, sis. That was a whole sermon right there. Because it's so true. If we are not happy with who we are, we can't expect nobody else to bring happiness in our lives. That's not how that works. Like, low key, God done gave us our happy, but we've put so much crap and mess on top of it that we have to chisel away at some of the stuff just to get to it. But that means you got to be real with yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that's the big key right there, right? You stuck with yourself. So if you're lying to yourself, that's on nobody but you.
Nobody but
you are with you 24 hours out of the day, all of the moments that go into that. And so if you're not being real with yourself, everything begins with you. All of the answers are within you, all of the things. So you really need to, like you were saying, sit with yourself, and understand that, and ask yourself, why am I doing this?
It's a beautiful journey.
Absolutely.
To sit with yourself is a beautiful journey. Every year I take a trip for my birthday by myself. I travel by myself. And when I tell you, there is a connection with God and a peacefulness.
Yes.
When you sit with yourself and you love yourself, like when that actress said, you have to look in the mirror and like who you see. That is so true. Because when you like and love who you see, baby, can't nobody come for you. Can't nobody comfort you. Can't nobody shift you. Can't nobody block your blessings. None of that. Absolutely. But like Selena said, you have to love you. It starts with you. It starts with understanding you have to prioritize you and your well-being.
Absolutely. So let me ask you one other question. With that being said, what have you had to disrupt in your life?
Ooh, girl. So I've had to disrupt in my life issues of abandonment.
Mm.
right? So that's why I can speak so passionately about the journey to you. Because as a child, you know, my dad wasn't around. And people don't realize and understand the magnitude of what the father figure is in the household, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a very powerful figure. And it sets the tone for the little girl of your first love, your example of how a man should love you. But if you're abandoned by the first person who was designated to love you and show you what that is, now your self-esteem comes into question, right? And I was a woman who at work, I dressed the part. I was a great leader because I knew how to treat other people. But on the inside, I struggled with the imposter syndrome. I struggled
Mm-hmm.
with speaking up when I knew I needed more money. I struggled with that. I struggled with feeling worthy of having
Mm-hmm.
relationships with wonderful people, with wonderful men. I struggled with that, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I tolerated bad behavior. But God was like, baby girl, what are you doing?
Right.
I made you special. All your imperfections are just for you, like just for you. And
Mm, that's good.
when I disrupted that mindset, right? And I forgave and I let go of the burden and the heaviness of the abandonment situation, I was able to move forward in a much more healthier, much more resilient way, in a way that allowed me to love even better, more whole, because I'm a more whole and complete person.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
definitely disrupting things of the past that I was carrying. I was like that bag lady from what's that lady who
Erica
sang that
Badu.
famous
Erica
song?
Badu.
Erica Badu. Somebody should have
Mm.
told me to put that bag down a long time ago, but I put it down.
Yes, praise God for that. And I can relate to that. My abandonment was more centered around being sent to live with my grandparents as a teenager and not fully understanding why. So I was separated from my brothers, and it was like, and I don't even know that it presented itself until I was older. I didn't even realize it at the time. So I can fully relate to that. Absolutely. And that was a whole word and a third. I had to put that down. All your imperfections are just for you by Coach Vanette.
Yeah.
Ooh,
You know,
ooh.
because think about it, like all the things I think about, all the things I used to when I was young. I was like frail. I was this big, y'all, when I was young and complained about everything, right? Because society will have you believe what their description of what beauty is. And then they put so
Right.
much value on the outside. And they don't
Mhm.
put enough value for our girls and our young men on your character.
Mm.
How about be a beautiful person? How about that?
Absolutely.
Fix what's broken on the inside, because as a society, we so quick to fix on the outside. I can go and get my hair done, buy some more hair, get my eyes, get some teeth, get some you build a body, can't you? Nowadays, build a body.
That's what I heard.
But you can't build. Can you rebuild your soul? Can you rebuild your heart? Can you rebuild who you are as a person? That's the thing that you have to work on building. Because it don't
Ab-
matter how pretty, it's been a whole bunch of pretty crap out there, right? There's a whole bunch of pretty crap out there.
Absolutely. And I believe, they hear that saying, you are who you're waiting for because everything is within you already. You just need that help to tap into it.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Well, let's get a little personal, Coach, if that's okay with you. What do you enjoy doing in your free time when you're not coaching or working with clients?
Okay, so listen. I recently I recently started taking inline skating lessons, y'all.
Really?
Yeah, so let me tell you, some years ago, I was dating this gentleman, this wonderful man, and it was during COVID. And so we were like, we're going to get some rollerblades. So we got rollerblades, girl. When I tell you, listen, I was like, I need formal lessons. I can't watch these YouTube videos. So I decided to sign up. So I recently signed up. So I'm doing rollerblading. I can go forward. I have on all the gear, right? My sons, they were like, Mom, make sure you wear everything, like everything.
Yeah, because those things are no joke. I'm a quad skater. I'm roller skate. And
See,
that
now I got
inline,
roller skates too, but that's next. I'm going to start
okay.
out with inline, then I'm going to do the roller skates. But I love zip lining too. Like I love
Mhm.
zip lining. Oh my gosh. That's so fun. Oh
What's
my.
the furthest that you've gone zip lining?
When we were in Jamaica, the zip lining was pretty high up. They had this kind of park in Jamaica where they have all these zip linings. Then they had this waterfall, like a 900-foot waterfall you could climb up. It was, I like stuff like that.
Okay,
Like
you're
I do.
adventurous.
Yeah, I like stuff like that. And I love ballroom dancing. Like I haven't been ballroom dancing in a long time. It's a Michigan thing.
Okay. So
But
now that it's come up, maybe it's time.
maybe it's time. I think I might have to get out there. Get out
Yeah.
there and get some dancing in. But yeah, I do enjoy all of that.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, I got to zip line the very first time I did it was in Costa Rica. It's no joke. They call it canopying. Canopying.
Oh,
Because you're
okay.
above the trees.
Yay.
Okay?
Oh,
You
okay.
are really you getting to know God because you're way up there. Lord, 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 I can't believe
Yes.
I'm doing this. But yeah, it's incredible. We went for my mother's 70th birthday. That's what she wanted to do.
Wow.
So we went where it originated. It was like it was incredible, but it was beautifully scary. Scaringly beautiful, maybe is what I would say. Yeah, it was something. Let me ask you, can you share a book, podcast, or resource that has had a significant impact on your personal or professional development?
Hmm. What was another book? I have so many books, y'all. I'm looking in the office on the shelf. So now this book, which I talked about, the success principles. This one, this the camera. Okay, this one is thick, but it's so rich. It has so much in it that's so practical. Some gems you'll love. And then there's another one that is called Empowering Yourself. And
Mhm.
this is the Organizational Game Revealed. This is by Harvey J. Coleman. And
What's
this
that
book,
last name or first name?
the first name is Harvey.
Harvey Coleman. Okay.
Harvey J. Coleman. And it's called Empowering Yourself. And this is the Organizational Game Revealed. This is a good book for leaders to understand, because in corporate America, y'all, it is politics. And you just need to understand how that politics work, how to maneuver in that politics, because it
Mhm.
is. So
That's interesting. The organizational game revealed. Is that how they put it?
yes, yes. And within the book, it has this formula called PI. And so PI stands for performance, image, and exposure. And a lot of people think, oh, your performance is really key. Like that's the biggest part. And
Mm-hmm.
actually, your performance is only 10%. So performance is only 10% of what's going to elevate you in leadership roles. The other important factor is image, which is roughly, I want to say image was 40%, about 40 to 50%. I want to say 40% was image. And image meaning, what is your personal brand?
Mm.
You know, what are people thinking and saying about you when you're not in the room? When you come in a room, how do you make people feel when they speak your name? Are they speaking your name like, ooh, that Vanette child, ooh, she got on my nerves, can't get a word in edgewise? Or are they saying, oh my gosh, Vanette is so helpful. Anytime I need something, she's there to help. She explains things, she's thorough,
Right.
intelligent. And then the last thing is the E, which is exposure. And for Black women, especially, the networking game is true, is real, and it's a benefit to it. And you have to put yourself out there. And I tell my clients all the time, the ones that want to move up, is that you have to branch yourself out. You have to make connections with people who don't look like you. You make connections with people who do look like you, but include those who don't look like you so you can get a different perspective.
Mm-hmm.
They're sitting at the table. You can't get the same perspective from somebody who's sitting in the back of the bus with you. You need to get exposure to who's at the table, because then once you get exposure to who's at the table, now you can sit at the table because you understand who's at the table. You understand some of the conversations, the types of things they're talking about, and get comfortable in talking about your accomplishments, folks. Ladies, we don't do that enough. We don't do that enough. We've been taught to be humble. And I think, Selena, you touched on it when you talked about from a religious perspective, from a biblical perspective, how, we've been taught to be humble, to be meek,
Right.
but, quiet mouths don't get fed. And I want to eat. So I want to eat. So quiet mouths don't get fed. And you have to tell your leader, right? Whether your leader is a VP, a director, or whomever, but you have to let them know what you're doing, what you've been accomplishing. Because let's face it, they don't know. They don't know all the stuff you do. So when you're doing something that's over and above, or you just saved the company 200,000 or something like that, you want to bring that up in a conversation. But we've been taught not to do that. We've been taught, well, that's just your job. That's just what I'm supposed to do. Meanwhile, Ted and Becky, they don't have a problem in sharing what they're accomplishing. And that's a good thing. But we have to also share. We have to let people know all the wonderful things you all do, because we do a lot and we don't get credit. And if we think people are going to give us credit by mind reading what we do, that's not going to happen. We have got to share and shed light on what we're doing.
Absolutely. That's a key. One of the things that I learned early on to do was I keep I call it my kudos file. And it's kind of that hidden factory stuff that you're doing that they give you kudos on, or you did some significant work in it and you're proud of it. Those things to capture. And I would add, like, what initiative it was related to, what were the values of the organization that was tied to it. And so when I would do my performance review, I kept one for each year. I would just paste it right in there.
Yep. That's how you do it.
In there, so that it could be like, bam.
Yes.
That made such a difference, tracking it as you go. So that would be something key that I would recommend for others. How about a fun or interesting fact about yourself that most people might not know?
Let's see. Fun, interesting. Okay. When I was 18, I used to model. My mother put me in modeling school. So I used to model when I was 18. And I was small. And one of our instructors wanted to take me to Paris, but she said I had too many hips.
What?
Look, if it had been in today's time where everybody walking around with the BBLs, then I would have been right there. But, she was like, yeah, if you just lose a little weight. I was like, girl, I just got this. What?
Are you trying to get me to give it up?
Really? I just get this. What?
That's
So
that's funny too. And so that's a European standard though,
that
right?
is
That's not the
very
true
much
standard
so.
of beauty. Yeah.
Very much so.
Someone just mentioned how fine you were on here. I wasn't gonna say nothing, but since you brought it up bodily, they're like, Vanette is fine. Like, Lord, you know them come out too.
All
I
I
ain't gonna
know, look, child, when this makeup come off, y'all might be like, where'd she go? Where'd she go though? Child, this some of that good old makeup, this some of that Fendi makeup. Thank Riri.
Oh,
Thank you,
okay, girl.
little Fendi
You
makeup.
fine though. I just seen you without makeup. You fine. You fine, fine for real, for real.
Oh, thank you. Oh
So
my
this question lends right into that. How do you maintain your own sense of balance and well-being while empowering others to do the same?
I work out every 6 days a week. I work out. Well, 7 days a week actually. So 6 days a week I'm on a treadmill before I start work or anything. After I wake up, pray, meditate, I'm on a treadmill for 30 minutes. Exercise is such a benefit to the human body because it gives you so much stimulation. You almost don't even need coffee in the morning. Like, I don't even drink coffee in the morning. And it helps you think. It helps you become more creative. So, in order for me to show up for my clients, I have to show up for me. I have to make sure my wellness is together. So I'm checking if I'm feeling anxious, I'll do breathing exercises. I will meditate. I do yoga,
Mm.
and I find time to journal. If I'm experiencing something, if I'm feeling sad or hurt, I give honor to those emotions, and I don't try to suppress them. I don't ignore them, and I talk about it. I talk about it because how I feel matters and how you feel matters. And so it's important to give voice to your pain, give voice to how you feel, you know, and to pay attention. So I pay attention to how I'm feeling. Um, and like I said, between exercise and hydration and sleep, oh my
Oh
gosh.
my goodness, yes, girl. I'm
Woo!
always gotta
Let
have
me,
that water.
water is so important because I know when I don't drink enough water, I feel it. I feel sluggish. Um, I'm off when I don't drink enough water. I feel it in my body.
Mhm.
And then also sleep. The older I get, y'all, listen, sleep is a commodity. When I tell
Absolutely.
y'all I can't wait to get in that bed, ooh wee. It's
Yes,
a
I
whole
need at
nother
least
level. Once you get to be a certain age, that bed, you be like, oh, I got this good old mattress. Thank you, Jesus. So
real
sleep
talk.
is important because
Real
when
talk.
I feel rested, I'm hydrated, and I've got that physical activity going, I'm at the top of my game. I'm so much, I have alertness and I feel better. I really do.
Mhm. I love that. I love that. So I put down sleep, hydration, and movement are key.
Key. Absolutely. Key.
Love, 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 love that. Let's see. I have one more question for you, and maybe another one. Can you share a memorable or humorous moment from your coaching journey that has stuck with you?
Let's see. So I don't know if it's humorous, but I was coaching a young man once,
Mm,
and he was so sweet. He was married, and he and his wife had just had a little baby. Their baby might have been three or 4 months old. And so we were talking about him and his wife. And I said, well, you do realize that even though you all are married, you all are still individuals.
mhm,
And I
mhm.
said, it's so important, especially now that you have the baby, because they were so focused on the baby. And I know what that's like, right? We know what it's like when you had a baby. And I said, but you have to remember, you still have a wife and she needs her husband, right? And you still have yourself, and you still need to have the connection with yourself. So each of you needs space and time so that she can feel like, you know what, I have a little time to myself now. You have a little time to yourself. And then y'all have time where y'all get together. So we created a schedule. He actually created a schedule. And I asked him, I said, well, you should do a date night. And I asked him, I said, well, what is your wife like? He said, I don't know. I said, what? How did you get married? He
That's
said,
funny.
I said, what's your wife like? He said, I don't know. I said, you better ask. Fellas, if you don't know what your woman, wife, or special person likes, ask. Don't guess. Please don't guess. And ladies, don't get mad if they ask. Be glad they're trying to find out.
That's a good point.
So
Absolutely.
he ended up, they scheduled, he found out what she liked, and he created a date night, and they ended up going out, and he said they had so much fun.
Oh,
And so now they made it like a regular thing. They have date night at least once a month, but they do get separate times where he'll watch the baby and she can go off and be with her girlfriends or go to the spa, and then she'll watch the baby while he go off and meet with some of his cousins, and they might go play pool or basketball or something.
that's
And
so
so
good.
that was memorable. But I thought it was funny because he like did not know what his wife liked. I was like,
It's not surprising to me, you know, that whole societal thing and the different reasons and why and who you are. You know, you don't know till you know,
do you know?
unfortunately. Well, that is this has been a wonderful conversation, and so meaty for others to be able to know how you empower others and help them balance life and leadership. I'm so thankful for you being here, Vanette. This was such a good conversation. Good,
Thank
good
you.
stuff.
It was a pleasure. I've enjoyed being here.
Yeah. So before we go, I usually like to ask my guests, do you have any questions for me? Because it is a conversation.
Well, me, tell me how did you become the disruptor coach?
I became the disruptor coach. Before I was the disruptor coach, I was actually Selena's Jewels. It was a name that I was using because I used to sell jewelry when my son went off to college. I wanted a way to still kind of get to know people and do things because I had been so focused on him for so long, and I realized, okay, I got time to myself. All right, so let me get into this, and it was a good business opportunity as well, a way to uh, cover for not having that tax deductible. And so I did that for a little while, and what happened is I needed my own life coach. I needed me and me. I had gone through a narcissistic marriage and trauma and toxicity and all of these things, and I had become disconnected from myself. I didn't know who I was anymore. So when you talk about a lot of those things, the abandonment issues that came out of it when I went inward and to figure out who I was. And as I was going through the journey of being coached, because one of the things that I realized in being disconnected from myself was I didn't feel feminine. I had been operating in my masculine for a very, very long time, right? Because life had just, those stones of life had just piled on top so many. And you just keep going, going, going. You don't really know that some of these bags can be put down, in your words. And I was carrying a whole lot of them. I was carrying a lot of bags. I was carrying a lot of the past, just thoughts ruminating around and around and around and around, right? And just for the record, the past only exists if you bring it into the future. It no longer exists once it's in the past. What we have is now and the present. And so I wasn't present for a very long time. And so I was showing up as Selena's Jewels because I had realized, oh shit, I've been coaching for 30 years and didn't even know it, right? Empowering, helping each others, and just sometimes voluntarily, sometimes not voluntarily, because I learned that I had the gift of knowing. And I
Mm,
would just know things about people. I could see that they needed a word or they needed a little hand holding. And I had the ability and the gift to be able to help people move forward and get unstuck.
mm,
And so, as I was on this journey and just showing up with the podcast, at that time it was Selena's Solutions or something like that. And the word disruptor came into the frame. And so, as a profession, I'm a business continuity practitioner. I was, and I still am, because I've done it for double digit years. It's something that's innately that I would do. And I realized, that's kind of what I've been doing in my life. And it just resonated with me. So I adopted disruptor coaching, because we do not maintain the status quo. I thrived in organized chaos at one point in my life, and all of those things. And it's something that I want for women, that we are no longer going to maintain the status quo and let society determine who we are, because most women are living a life that someone else determined for them, and they haven't really stepped out and owned who they are, what they want,
hmm.
and really recognizing that they could have it, you
That
know.
part.
Absolutely. So, as the disruptor, the thing is to know that we no longer stay maintaining the status quo. We come in here and we're disrupting some shit. That's what we were designed to do in the first place. The divine feminine is a disruptor. She
Yes.
really is. She's courageous. She's fire. She's all the things. Most people are not really afraid of men. They're afraid of women. When you think about it,
Okay.
they're afraid of you.
Okay.
You're afraid of your mama. You ain't trying to upset your mama, you
That part.
know, and those things. So the goal is for us to know our true selves, our most authentic selves, and our highest vibration, to show up who we were truly designed to be.
Yes. And I so love and appreciate you sharing your journey and how you got to be the disruptor coach. And I appreciate how you talked about not really losing sight of your femininity, because that is something that a lot of women can lose. We lose, especially when we're going into fields, in industries that is male dominant. We feel like
Absolutely.
we can't show up as our feminine self, and we
Mhm.
lose. And I'm not going to talk too very much long, but there was a young man who said, I was having a conversation with someone, and they said that, wouldn't it be wonderful to see the different career paths that women would take if society paid a more equitable salary for all other fields, right? Because in our nature, we're nurturers.
Mhm.
So in those fields that are nurturing, they don't want to pay our teachers. They don't want to pay the money, And so a lot of times I think that some of us go down the path because we want to have money. We want to have money and have the nicer things in life. But sometimes we're doing things that aren't aligned to our values and who we are. And then
Absolutely.
we're so unhappy. And wouldn't it
Absolutely.
be a blessing to be able to find a way to have a job, but also find your happiness that aligns to who you really are?
Yeah, and that's it. And I believe there is a way. Society has painted a picture to be counter to that, right? Because I do believe the saying, "Your gifts will make room for you." Um, Society tells you, no, you gotta get a job, you gotta do all of the things, or you have friends and family, especially if you're if you're parents are a product of being a baby boomer, you know, they have kind of a scarcity mindset. And so they hoard and they hold on to things and they believe, you know, a good job is the answer, but a job will replace you, just like you talked about when the co-worker died that very next day. So you owe it to yourself to follow your heart and what is, because that's the true gift that you've been given. You've likely been given a dream that when you close your eyes, you can see it, but you don't necessarily believe that you can have it. I'm here to tell you that you can. You just take one step, and those dreams, desires, and what the Lord has planned for you will meet you on the journey. I'm a living witness to this, because if you'd have told me that coaching was in my path, I had no idea. None. But guess what? Now that I've been through things and I've seen how life can pile on top of you, it
Mhm.
only makes sense for me to follow the path that the Lord has laid before me.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
so and look at the evidence of how many that I had served for free,
For free. For
right? And so I'm grateful. I just want to shout out a little bit here and thank you. I see you, Goddess Within. Thank you for showing up. Marvin J. Butler, thank you for being here. Tiffany, that's my girl. She does my mani pedis. She's a nail specialist, but I see her as a pedicurist. Like she's fire with the pedicure. And my beautiful Janice, how are you? One of my sacred sisters in our Sacred Woman community. Thank you for being here over on Instagram. And so that's how I became the disruptor coach. I believe that it's gonna land. And so as we continue on this journey, we are disruptor coaching is the name of the company, because we've got lives to serve. And so yeah, I'm just ecstatic about that. So thank you for asking. Thank you for asking.
my
And
pleasure.
um,
Pleasure.
so tell the lovely people that have tuned in and those that will catch us on replay, drop the replay emoji if you're listening to us on the replay. Where can they find you and how can they get in touch with
If you want to get in touch with me, you can go to my Instagram at priority.u. You can DM me. If you want to call, you can contact me at 833-973-1222. You can text, leave a message. You can go to my website at www.priorityu, the number 4, the letter u.com. On Facebook, I am Priority You for You. On YouTube, I am Priority You dash VH. Where else am I, y'all? I'm on LinkedIn as Priority You LLC. And on TikTok, I am Priority You.
you? Okay.
It's
Well, we're
Priority.
going to drop all of that. I couldn't capture that quickly, but we'll drop it all in the comments for you all to be able to reach back and contact Miss Vanette. Thank you so much for being on the platform. I am going to be joining her on. Are we're doing Instagram also later this
Yes.
week?
Yep.
That's Thursday, February 22nd at 7 p.m. So please tune in. And I'm just super excited. Any other words before we go? Vanette?
I just want to say it's been a true pleasure, Selena. Thank you so much. Um, you're just a very powerful and energetic coach, and I know that your clients are definitely blessed. It's been a
Thank you.
pleasure, and thank you to everybody who attended and who supported and listened. To all my folks on Instagram, thank you so much for joining. And forward this, you guys. Like when you see it and you see it out there, forward it to other people and share the love. Right? That's what it's about.
Absolutely. I think we should put that. Share the love. Absolutely. I just saw the One Love movie about Bob Marley. That was so
How was
touching.
it?
It was
Was it?
really, really good. I enjoyed every minute of it.
Oh
Learned
wow.
a lot. Yeah. So check it out. If you all are out there, support the film. was good stuff. And I'm sure that the Marley family and foundation could use the support. So thank you. Thank you all again for being here. That's our time. And we appreciate you. Until next time, tune in next Sunday, same time, same bad channel. I have another guest on, and I hope you look forward to that information showing up. Thank you so much. Thank you, Vanette.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Bye.